Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine, Think Magazine, Put in a Geek. You've got Geekazine over at geekazine.com. Twitter handle Geekazine. Email is geekazine@gmail.com. Today I'm going to address something that happened in the last 48 hours. It's all about Google and Google Plus, and a lot of people, especially since I have a couple communities on Google Plus, a lot of people have been asking me, what's going on with Google Plus? Do you think it's going, are you going to jump ship? Are you going to rat out? Are you going to go? Are you going to say bye? And the bottom line for me is no, I do not see anything happening with Google Plus going anywhere. But let's get all the facts down on the table first before we say anything on here. We're going to start over here. Of course, the biggest news of the day was the fact that Vic Gundatra actually is leaving Google. And of course, he's the one that put together this whole Google Plus thing. And so TechCrunch decided, well, let's take a look and talk. We got some reports saying that there's some chatter going on with the with Google and stuff like that now that Vic is leaving here. So they had Google representatives deny this, but apparently their sources basically say that Google has apparently been restructuring teams to form a new core of Google Plus, about 1,000 to 1,200 employees, and there's a brand new building on campus, and that's not because of Vic's departure, but basically maybe Google Plus getting moved into their own area of the campus and go from there. Well, and if that's the case, hey, good for them, good job. But a lot of people are getting shuffled around, and a lot of sources going wrong. You know, first of all, I do have to mention this. Apple every now and then would put moles in to give out employees fake thoughts and sources, and then if it then reached into the mainstream, then they know who they could actually trust and continue on. At least that was the rumor there. But you know, the whole point is maybe that's what's happening here with this. Nonetheless, neither here nor there. This is the article that really sparked the whole thing, and you know, this is an article that has come up every 4 to 5 months. Out of the landscape. Is Google dead? Is it not happening? Nobody's seeing any growth in it. Well, I disagree with that. I think there's tremendous growth. And the first thing I'm going to show you here is actually a website called allfacebook.com, where they report on Facebook happenings. And they're talking about the first quarter social media 2014 over on allfacebook.com. And I'm going to show you this article right here. Basically, look at these numbers. 51% are on Facebook. And that's, you know, Facebook has been around since 2006. Oh, actually earlier than that, but to the public around 2006. 51% in the North America are on Facebook. 31% are on Google+. 31%. Twitter only has 3% of the U.S. market. That says a lot, especially if you're focusing on your Twitter audience as opposed to maybe your Facebook or Google Plus audience. Maybe you should focus more on Google Plus and Facebook rather than Twitter. I don't know. But anyway, they go down the landscape. They're showing all these numbers. Now, granted, these aren't numbers. These are all North American numbers. They're nothing overseas. Of course, we're going to get to that in a second. But we're going to show the social logon preferences. Facebook 53% to Google's 28%. As we go to mobile devices, 62% are on Facebook, where 26% is on Google Plus. Yeah, not a great number for Google Plus, but you know, 2 years ago, Google Plus wasn't even there, and I bet you a year ago that 26% on mobile devices was not even 5%, and up here, 28% was probably not even half that. I'd have to look at the numbers from last year, but look at all this. E-commerce, yeah, Facebook is taking over e-commerce. Yeah, Facebook has a good chunk of media and publishers. Google Plus is not too far behind. Now, this is where it gets a little bit depressing, and that is outside of North America. Europe only sees a 19% Google Plus usage. South America, 13%. Africa is only 9% to 78% on Facebook, and Asia is about 8%. That's not Google Plus. Google Plus is at 3%, as opposed to Facebook's 79%. So Facebook has a pretty good global footprint out there, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing or anything like that. I'm on Facebook, but I'm on Facebook for a completely different reason than I'm on Google Plus for. Facebook is friends and family. And I know that people like Robert Scoble, they've been able to do that whole transition into a public figure for Facebook. And Facebook tells you, hey, don't take your profile public. Just get your friends and family on there and then create a page where people will like that page. That's the better way to do it. And I've followed that way since day one on that. Is I have my Facebook page, my close friends, the people I know. There's very few people that I don't know personally on Facebook that I've added into my circles. So that stays to a very tight-knit group. I've got about maybe 1,000 people on Facebook, as opposed to my 27,000 people on 27,000 people on Google Plus, and of course my 6,000 and growing on Twitter. So these numbers are here, but if you look at the numbers out of the 1,000 people are generally localized in the Wisconsin area. There are some in San Francisco because they're friends, the people I know, people I've done business with, people that I've interacted with at events such as CES, as South by Southwest, NAB, upcoming TechCrunch Disrupt, and all these other events that I go to. So to say that, something like Google Plus is going to be dead when it has 31% of the North American audience. If we took everything else out of the picture, just the North American audience, 31%. Do you know what number that is? Out of about 350 million people that live in the United States alone, 31% is 108 million people. TV shows don't have that reach. Newspapers don't have that reach. And to say that Google Plus is going to die because of that, I don't believe that. And further on this, people have made a lot of connections using Google Plus and teaching other people how to use Google Plus. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is the first book that I got, and this is from Chris Brogan. This is Google Plus for Business, How Google's Social Network Changes Everything. And a lot of great information in here in this book. My friend Guy Kawasaki, my friend, I met him at South by Southwest and seen him the last couple of years. He's written What the Plus. These aren't like two off books or anything like that. Let's go over to Amazon.com. Let's take a look at some of these books right here. Of course, we got Guy Kawasaki's What the Plus. We've got Google Plus Pro Tips, Google Plus for Marketing, Google Plus for Dummies. There's Chris Brogan's book, Google Plus for Photographers, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus. The list goes on. Google 101. List goes on and on and on. To go further, let's take a look. We talk about circles. Everybody was just completely enamored at this whole circle idea when it first came out, and they still don't know how circles work. And there's a ton of books on doing circles and friending people and getting them in the right area and go from there. And that's all on Amazon.com. Think about this. All these publishers' books, gone. They won't amount to a hill of beans. But did you ever see, well, you might have seen one or two books on maybe Google Wave, maybe Google Buzz, but did they have 31% of the North American viewing area? No. They didn't even have a fraction of that number. And so why would you say your business based on Google Plus, you're doing a great job evangelizing Google Plus, but we're going to shut the whole thing down. And that 108 million people that you go to try and get some business off of, that's not going to happen. One thing that I do believe is happening is they're readjusting, they're shifting teams because Google Plus is going to become a bigger juggernaut than it's ever has. Granted, like I said, overseas, not doing too well, but think about it this way. In 2 years, first of all, Hangouts. Hangouts has actually been moving to the phone. I'm surprised that Google hasn't tried to do a Hangouts app for iPhones just yet. But they've been trying to merge everything together. I talk about on my Geek Smack show that eventually we're not even going to have a phone number to use. You're just basically going to call somebody up via a social network. You're going to go up on Facebook. You're going to find the person's name. You're going to hit the call button. That's going to call them. There's going to be no phone number involved. And I think in the next 5 years, we'll start to see those phone numbers go away. Now, the same thing goes for the fact that with Google Plus, they're hooking up Hangouts with Google Plus. Everything's hooked up to that Google Plus profile. Your YouTube is hooked up to that Google Plus profile. Your Gmail is getting hooked up to that Google Plus profile. You want to see anything? I'm going to show you right now one thing that Google does not hook up to their regular Google Plus profile. It's one in particular, and I don't know why it's not gone, but watch this. Take a look at this. And this is something that us bloggers and podcasters talk about religiously, not going to this website. Why? Because they haven't updated. And this is a perfect reason why. Look at this. This is FeedBurner, my FeedBurner, and I do have some feeds on FeedBurner. But look up on the top here. Look right here where it says geekazine@gmail.com, my feeds, my account, languages, help, sign out. Is that what you see on any other Google page? If you go over to Google Plus, and this one won't show off too much here. You go over to Google Plus here. Look at this. I have my profile right here. If I go on here, I can see all of my pages, all of my profile information. Here's all my notifications. There's no notification over on FeedBurner. There's all my applications. There's my information on my account and everything, which we won't get into. But you get the idea. They haven't done a thing over at FeedBurner. Whereas with Google Plus, they're putting, your Gmail is getting that same interface. Your anything that's Google Analytics getting that same interface. AdSense getting that same interface. YouTube getting that same interface. So you can connect and merge with everything as one. So that's the next thing. It's just amazing what we would lose if we did have this happen. And I don't see that happening. Even if they decide, well, we'll just close out the European version or the Asian version or the South American version, because that just doesn't make sense. But United States, 108 million people, can't be wrong. Now, this is where it gets really funny, and we're going back to this article. The article is written by Alexis Sosis and Matthew Panzarino. These are both editors to TechCrunch, and they're very respected people in the reporting community. But yet, I have to question when somebody's profile that's talking about Google Plus looks like this. The last public post. Now, I do have to admit it's a public post. You can say public and private, but the last public post that Alexa has is January 10th of 2012. She has nothing else on here, and it doesn't look like she's been doing much with this. Let's move on. Let's look at Matthew, who's had a little bit more here. And once again, he doesn't have any public posts, which I find kind of odd, simply because of the fact, if I write an article, I'm going to post it. Even if I don't post every single article I write on my publications, I can every now and then post something to Google+, especially if I have 4,500 followers on there, to try and gain some more followers, to try and gain some more traction. Maybe somebody that's forgot about my articles all of a sudden say, hey, here it is again. I would still post on Google+, and I would put, I'd go up on my business page, which is what I do. I go up on my business pages and I post those articles, and then I repost back on my main page on Google+. Matthew, the last public post that he shared was June 20th of 2013. Does it mean that he's using the service? Yes. No, it doesn't. Because once again, I might not be seeing those posts because he might be posting to a circle that I'm not a part of, even though I have him in a couple circles on my own. But I highly doubt that he hasn't reshared somebody's post, or even posted one of his articles onto this service. Let's continue on. Let's go to TechCrunch's post page, because this is where you're going to see the most traffic here. Now, as you can see, They've got 191 million views. That was the newest part of Google Plus here. TechCrunch is, and of course they don't say how many people are following them, which neither here nor there. But as you can see, they got some decent following on here. Like for instance, this latest article, which came out at about at afternoon, about 12:50 today, has 3 comments and 14 pluses. Another article, 35 pluses, 7 reshares, I'm sorry, and 8 comments. As we go down the list, we're going to see some great numbers. The one article that seems to be missing is this article right here, and which I know would definitely bring up a lot of people's ire. And of course, it's already been posted a few hundred times, a few thousand times actually on Google Plus already. So TechCrunch, that's probably the most active out of the whole thing, but it doesn't look like they're doing much on it. They're not. They've got this Instagram, which then I'm guessing goes through a service which is then hooked up to Google Plus, which then posts it. So they might not even be looking at your comments, your pluses, your shares, or anything like that. They're just using it as an engine, which is kind of sad if you think about it. Now, let's take a look at a different angle here. And this is, a year and a half ago, communities came into Google, and it was something that everybody really wanted. And those the numbers, they're awesome. My podcasters community right here is at 38,100 members. The Geeks Plus community, which I'm also a moderator on, is at 31,000 members. I've got communities here that are thousands. In fact, let's take a look at this article, this right here. This is over at Circle Count. The most followed, we've got Snapchat, which is at 446,000 followers. Amazing Places to Go at 422,000 followers. Gaming at 303,000 followers. This is circle follower people that circled inside these communities and are active in these communities. Some of them might be fluff. That happens every now and then. You don't get attentive moderators, and they don't really do a great job in putting it together. However, if you get something that people go to on a daily basis, people notice that, and then they start going, and they start bringing their friends with them, and their friends start going, and so on and so forth. So I see these numbers here, and I go to myself, well, there's no way that Google Plus can close down communities. Then let's talk about these Hangouts. Now, there's no raw data that I found just yet that said how many YouTube videos that get uploaded come from a Google Hangout. What I do know is that Google has been merging, or YouTube, or whatever you want to call it, has been merging together Google Plus into YouTube. Not just the comments, but also when I create live events, like when I do my weekly Geek Smack, I can do it as a Hangout, or I can do it as an actual live event where I'm the only one involved, and I control the horizontal and the vertical as well. So with this integration here into Hangouts, and so many people that use Hangouts to not only call, not only converse with each other in the dark of night when they can't go out to the bars because they have to stay at home for some reason or another. The communities are just amazing after hours when it comes to Google Hangouts. And of course, merging Hangouts with the mobile devices, all of a sudden you've got all your contacts list in one area to be able to do a show just as quick as that. So out of all of that, not to mention the fact that the photos have been integrated with Google Plus. Not to mention the fact that you have events and you have the Google Local, where people are. It's kind of like you go to a restaurant, you review it on Google Local. Are they farther behind than Facebook? Yes. Facebook is working out their planning, and especially with monetization. Two things that Google Plus doesn't do. One is a good monetization scale for anybody, being able to put ads, sponsored posts, or anything like that into Google Plus. And a lot of people say, we don't want it anyway. And we're glad for that. The other thing is that API. There's not a real open API. You can get things like, Hootsuite will let you post to your Google Plus pages. There are some other social media metric and social media collaboration websites out there and programs out there that will let you post stuff to your Google Plus business page, but not your regular feed page. You still have to anchor that, and you still have to curate the content. And that might be a good thing. It's definitely working for me, and I enjoy it, and I get a lot of interaction because of the fact that I post everything to Geekazine.com, and if there's anything that really needs some attention, I'll then reshare it over on my personal profile to my 27,000 people up on Google+. All right, I'm getting a little bit long here, so as you can see, there is a lot of good that's happening with Google+. There is no way that Google Plus will go away anytime soon. 108 million user reach in the United States alone. You can't get that on TV. You can't get that on most websites. Where do you go to get that? You'll get that in that presence either on Facebook, and when you do get that presence on Facebook, it might be even localized because your presence is most probably your friends and family. If I'm wrong, tell me different. But it's mostly friends and family. With Google Plus, sky's the limit. You have your circles. You might have your local circles. You might have your friends and family circles. Then you have those public circles, and you can get a lot of people on those public circles. So, in conclusion, I don't see Google Plus going away. Do I see restructuring happening? Yeah, when anybody leaves and somebody else comes in, the vision has changed. And so the vision goes to something else. Could Google Plus get a brand new name? That's a possibility. If Google Plus doesn't really jive with somebody, but they say, if we go Google Gears or Google Rocks or something like that, let's change it to that. They might give it that change. They might give it that facelift. But I don't see putting all that money into a social network that thrives, that still gets the attention that it's getting right now, and still has that many users onto the network. There's no way it's going to close down. It would be foolish if they closed down, unless if for some reason it was just leaking money left and right. And I don't see that happening either. I see a lot of opportunities and a lot more coming down the road. I also see the fact that it's time to change some things up. You move over here, you could probably, you guys over at Hangouts could probably do better if you were with the Android group, because that's where we're gearing things to. But you still have your feet planted still in the Google Plus realm. So, like I said, you might hear some reports. These are reports that happen every 6 to 8 months. And I could pull up articles every few months with that same thing. Is Google Plus dying? Is it a graveyard? And the reality is it's not a graveyard. If you spend some time there, you'll find out it's not a graveyard. But you've got to be communicative. You've got to be able to talk to other people and join some communities and rally behind something to build your networks up. You post your pictures, you post your updates, people will +1 it more than they'll like it on Facebook. Simple as that. So, anyway, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you think I'm totally off base, let me know. My Twitter handle is Geekazine. My email is geekazine@gmail.com. Use my hashtag #GeekOut, and we'll go from there, and we will talk about it. Thanks a lot for watching over on YouTube, youtube.com/Geekazine. Go ahead and subscribe there or like the video. But I don't see it happening. I don't see Google Plus going away anytime soon. And I really hope that in the next year, it'll show that it actually does have competing power. Will it knock out Facebook? Will Facebook knock out Google Plus? That's anybody's game. So there could be a brand new player that comes in the next couple months that could blow everybody away. And then it's time to close it down. Until then, we've got way too much stuff for for Google Plus, and way too many people that are counting on their businesses through Google Plus. For that Google Plus to shut it down would be almost as just like if they were to shut down FeedBurner. They haven't updated FeedBurner in 2-3 years now. They haven't shut that down just yet. They've shut down little bits and pieces. They haven't shut down it as a whole. If they were to shut it down as a whole, there'd be a lot of people that'd be scrambling and wondering what the heck they're going to do at this point in time. Simple as that. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for the extra rant. I'm off the soapbox now. So you guys take care and check out geekazine.com. Got a lot of great video over there.